So the first season, which is called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, will also be getting a reprint coming soon to you, so don't fret if you missed out the first time round.
Oh my god! Oh, Jesus!
Well, how the turntables. It's no secret now, and everyone is gonna be talking about this pretty soon, and it won't be only me. And at this point, I kind of feel like Paul Revere when it comes to card games, where I'm gonna be telling people the reprints are coming, and you need to tell all your friends about it. One thing to be aware of though, before you get like sucked into all this hype and whatnot, is the fact that it is still an Aniplex pretty much product where they've been getting stamps, right? And then, so we're not really sure yet if it's gonna have, you know, signatures and whatnot, since they haven't really released information about this just yet. As well as the fact that the Hype and Stonks card is the Trial Deck SP, which actually, most of the time, they do not reprint the Trial Decks, right? But when it initially released, the Trial Deck SP was actually part of the set, I guess as an error, so we're not really sure if it's going to be the same thing. So maybe they'll release it, so it really depends on what kind of information they release going forward. But you also have to be aware that because this was a set that was highly speculated on for whatever reason, I've actually never even heard of this before until people kept trying to say that it was a Grail, which I really don't understand why. You have to understand that since it's so speculated on, now that there's so many different type of Mai cards out there, is that going to affect the price? And then the fact that people are freaking out about it, you have to pay attention to that as well too, right? So again, I make all my videos and I talk about how you should always pay attention to why people get mad. It's because these items are so speculated on, and most of the people holding on to these are holding on to these for stonks. So you have to pay attention to that. So what I would probably say is that keep an eye out for when they announce more information about these cards, regardless of whether there'll be stamps, regardless of whether the TD card gets released. You'll realize that if there is no natural demand for reprints, regardless of whether the fact that there are stamps or if there are signatures, you'll start seeing that the demand for these things are not organic at all, right? Remember when, you know, cards like Data Live was highly speculated on, that got reprinted, and even with signatures, people just don't care about it. You see that SEC Kurumi card, no one wants to buy it. Pretty much outside of like one or two people that are speculating on these cards, no one wants to buy it, right? So again, pay attention. When there's reprints for Overlord, you'll notice no one cares about it. It's because these cards are highly speculated on. What I want you to focus on is not the fact that there's going to be reprints, not the fact that if there's going to be a difference or not. What I want you to focus on is the fact that look at the actual demand for these products. The only reason why people are flipping out and bringing attention to these products is because they're mad at the fact that there isn't even a possibility of a same identical reprint coming out. And when you see that, again, in my previous video where I highlighted reprints like Overlord, no one wants them. No one even wants the previous version. The only reason why the prices of the older one is going to go up is only solely based on the fact that since new ones are coming out and it's going to be different, there's no way it's going to stay at the same price, right? And there's no way that you could buy, you know, a booster case for $1,000 and then these SPs will be worthless. So what's going to happen? The base price is going to be at whatever the new reprint is going to be. And then the higher price is going to be whatever the old one is going to be. It's just like a natural order of things, right? But you don't want to focus on the price in this case. You want to focus on the fact that there was previously no demand for it. And even when the reprint comes, no one really cares at the fact of the reprint because there is no actual demand for these cards. There's nobody that actually really cares about these franchises as much as people try to hype it up to be, right? Of course, there's going to be fans of the franchises, right? But remember, these sets were highly speculated on, and a lot of the demand that drove up these prices to these ridiculous prices, like $10,000 for a card, remember, it's artificial. And if you're new to the channel, or if you've been someone that's been subscribed to the channel, one thing I want to point out is all the information that I give you in the videos and all these topics that I discuss, I kind of follow that philosophy of if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day, right? But if you teach them how to fish, then you'll feed them for a lifetime. Because in general, I'm not a news channel. I'm not here to do breaking updates on every time there's something announced. What my goal is to do is that I want to teach you concepts using examples that we see in these card games and collectible markets so that you could use these concepts and actually apply it towards finance, towards economics, towards investing, and towards other aspects of your life as well too. So in this case, what have I been talking about for the past month or two, right? Every single video I keep mentioning, avoid falling for these shill posts. Avoid falling for whenever anyone says that something is a holy grail, because they're trying to bring attention to something that there's no natural demand for. So if you are someone that bought into the hype and ended up getting roped into thinking, oh, this is the Stonks card, this is going to be the next Charizard, then you bought one of these cards for $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, and you just got boned and got taken to Pound Town, USA, and population is you. And I know a lot of criticism that I get, as well as the reason why a lot of people don't like watching these types of videos is because rather than wanting to learn something, most people rather gravitate towards content that is towards hype and someone just like, oh my god, like flipping off their chair because they just pulled a bunny girl card and they're gonna tell you that this is $5,000, and then they put on gloves and like sleeve it and stuff, right? But I want you to remember, when you go into these collectible markets, when you go into card games, all of it is highly speculative. And when there's speculation when it comes to these markets, that's when you know that there's a lot of manipulation behind it. It's just natural when it comes to these collectible markets, right? Even in investment markets, there's a lot of manipulation. Like when you saw things like Bitcoins, crypto, and things like that. There's a lot of pump and dump type of stuff that goes on, and this is no exception when it comes to Weiss Schwarz. Of course, no one could tell that a reprint was going to happen, right? So this is kind of a surprise even to me. But in the previous video, I did already state that when you run a parallel between other type of Japanese companies that print trading cards, like Pokemon for example, they saw that there was a scalper market and people were hoarding these products, which is why they ended up reprinting some of these sets. And, you know, that's why you see like a lot of scalpers move out of these markets. These flippers move out of these markets because it's not as profitable anymore. So again, when it comes to Weiss Schwarz, right? If you want certain sets, like you want JoJo and you see people hoarding all these boxes, you want, I don't know, like Batman or whatever it is, right? You see certain sets that you like and you feel like you want to reprint, let them know, because again, apparently they do listen. And in my previous video, if you haven't checked it out, I'm going to link it in the comments here. I did a deep dive as to why you shouldn't invest in pretty much collectibles and singles and like sealed products for most people. And I go in depth as to why it doesn't make sense for most people. And I use the Eris 1-1 as an example as well too, right? And when I revisit the Eris 1-1 again, like it's been like a couple weeks since I made the video. I know I posted it this week, but it was made a couple weeks ago. Revisiting it now again, you'll see the fact that the prices are dropping, and previously it was selling for like, you know, $500-$600, but now even when people try to list it for $400 or $500 or anything lower than that in the auction groups or in the Facebook groups, no one buys these cards. And this is not even factoring in that the reprints and extra supply is actually going to be released into the market sometime this month in April. So those prices are actually going to tank even further. So again, if you bought these cards thinking that it's gonna be stonks, and even if you were someone that bought like, I don't know, like 10 copies for $250 or $200, and you're trying to sell it back into the market for $500, maybe you succeeded in selling it to one or two people. To be honest, I feel like a lot of these, I can't really know the legitimacy of these sales, but let's just say, for example, even if that person bought like 10 copies of these and was able to flip one or two of them, you're holding on to other multiple copies of these cards. Even if you bought it for, I don't know, like $200-$300 and you weren't flipping it and you're looking to sell it for like $400 or $500, you're struggling to even sell it for that $400 or $500 right now. And it's only going to get worse as the reprints happen, as well as once the hype dies down, the demand you'll see is not actually there. And I know it, right? everyone wants to be smart. Everyone wants to feel like they're the Wolf of Wall Street, some kind of like investment genius, right? That's why no one likes to listen to advice. No one likes to listen to more grounded opinions. But the reason why I make this video is because I make these videos to teach people that you shouldn't fall into hype, especially if you're not financially established, because if you could not afford to lose that money, you are in deep trouble when it comes to the bunny girl cards in regards to this Eris card soon as well too. And for the people who stick around and actually want to learn things from my video and want to use these concepts to apply it to different aspects of their life, whether it's financial, investments, or whatever it is, the major takeaway I want you to learn from this video is that you should never focus on the highest sale prices, especially when it comes to collectible markets like Weiss Schwarz, where the actual number of sales on some of these cards are very, very small, right? I say over and over again, in numbers in the quantity of less than 10 sales. Most of the time it's less than 5 sales that go over a couple $1,000s. And why is that important, right? Because when people get a card like the Black Lotus, the Charizard, or whatever it is, they automatically look up on Google like, oh, how much was the last one sold for? It sold for $40,000. And they think to themselves, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be able to sell my card for $40,000. But that's not true, because just because someone else sold it for a record amount does not mean that you're going to sell it for a record amount, right? And you're not factoring the fact that your card condition, your, whether it looks as good as the other one, if it's graded, in the case I have is graded, if it's going to go for the same grade as that other one, as well as you're not factoring in that maybe there was just that one schmuck that decided that they wanted to pay $10,000 for it. You're not factoring in that maybe that one sale was shill bidded, maybe there was a shill sale and it wasn't actually paid for, and all these other things, like maybe the item was returned just to show the fact that one of these are sold because someone's holding on to like 10 copies of these. You have to factor this in, because there's a lot of suspicious activity going on in the market of Weiss, where there's a lot of shill posts, a lot of not for sale, not for trade. Of course, like people are saying, oh, you can't prove that there's shill bidding on eBay. You have to watch out for that as well too, right? Just because you see one sale does not prove anything at all. And this goes across all markets. No matter what type of auction you look at, if you see an item go for a peak price, most of the time when the next item sells again, most likely it will not sell for that peak price. And again, I go back to how when these people shill these cards, they're trying to drive interest into it, right? And over time, they try to add more and more tactics into this, which I try to point out. So you're going to see, again, not for sale, not for trade. And then they're going to start talking about how great the cards are. And then the other people in the same group that are just jerking them off, and the same stonks, flippers, and investors, they're also going to be like, oh, cool card, bro, cool graded card, and all this other stuff, right? But again, what I want you to pay attention to is not the exciting parts, not the big sales. I want you to pay attention to the things that other people are not paying attention to. Pay attention to all the auctions that no one's bidding for these items when they go for sale. No one's buying these graded cards. Even when these graded cards says sold in these groups, right? You look at how no one comments on these posts, or is always just like, oh, PM me or something like that, right? So you have to pay attention. There's a lot of type of shilling type of activities and a lot of suspicious type of sale activities, where if you look at the actual real sales posts, you'll notice that no one is buying these type of graded cards. And a lot of times these type of GRAIL type of sales are all very, very one-off type of sales, and you have to be very, very careful of that. But yeah, please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you have already, I'm glad you guys are sticking around. Remember, the videos I make, I don't try to talk about breaking news or whatever it is, right? Because I find that kind of low effort. For me, what I feel like talking about is I put a lot of effort into my videos to kind of teach and to try and kind of educate about things like finance, so that, when I don't want people to get taken advantage of in this specific market, right? But you could use these same kind of concepts and mindset and perspectives to apply to other types of markets as well too. Maybe you're looking to buy a house, maybe you're looking to invest, and you could apply these type of concepts when you're planning to spend your money on these things. Because you know what? At the end of the day, every dollar you save, every dollar that you earn, you work for your money. So you deserve to keep the extra dollar in your pocket. And when you have that mindset of, you know what, every dollar matters, and you're able to save your money and you're able to actually financially invest your money properly, then you'll be able to be one step closer to being financially established, as well as achieving, just financial well-being. So I hope you guys stick around with me. I have a lot of interesting topics and videos coming up that I hope you guys enjoy. And thank you again for watching the video, and thank you again for sharing it and letting me know and giving me feedback when you guys are actually enjoying it and actually learning something from it. I really, really appreciate it, and it's what keeps me going and continuing making these videos. Thank you again, and have a great day.